Welcome to Count the Bucket with your host, Zach Cox. Let's get this money.
Alrighty, welcome back to Count the Bucket. I am your host, Zach Couch, joined, as always, by my brother, BK. Bennett, how are we doing on this fine evening?
Doing well, just chilling.
Yeah, you gotta be feeling pretty damn good, man, because I gotta give you credit. You called it last time we spoke. Game 4 of the NBA Finals is officially in the books. Toronto takes it 105-92. Very, very impressive performance from these Toronto Raptors, man. Just when everybody was saying, they finally got Clay back, and all of a sudden Looney out of the woodworks, I guess, drank some of the magical healing potion and does not have a broken collarbone anymore. I guess it's more of a rib issue. But he was able to go out there and give you, 20 minutes or so of solid defense and whatnot. But, yeah, man, I feel like it was so weird. Golden State was controlling the game, first half, the home crowd, they were kind of riding the energy, but Toronto was just grinding, kind of staying with it.
Close that gap towards the end of the half.
And then which Golden State's, signature thing has been these last couple of years, the third quarter, man. Toronto comes out and slaps Golden State right in the face. Kawhi comes down, drains a three. Next possession, gets a steal, comes down, pulls up in Draymond's eye, and hits another three like it was nothing. All of a sudden, Oracle you could hear a pin drop. It was super quiet, man. Like Kawhi, just cold-blooded. Impressive performance to say the least. Let me get your thoughts, because you were on this. I was on the fact I thought Golden State, huge game for them to keep the series at two apiece. But man, I mean, they look like the better team. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, no, I think I was texting you while the first half was going too, but it looked like Golden State's going off, but Toronto just kind of hung in there. None of their shots were falling. I think they shot 35% in the first half or something.
Yeah,
I forget the actual number, but I remember telling you I think it was an 8-point game with 2 or 3 minutes left in the first half. And then just right as the half was ending, they went a little run, cut it to I think they cut it to 6.
Yeah.
Something. I was like, well, going into the second half, you played a terrible first half, and the lead's only 6 points. I'd be feeling pretty good. And then second half came around, they got the legs under them, shots started falling. The whole game, Kawhi was going off, but then you had that boost from Serge Ibaka, who's been playing out of his mind lately.
Oh, great game from Serge, yeah, 100%.
Great defensive game, too. I think really where Golden State lost this game was just in decision-making. I mean, you can't win a game when you have 17 turnovers,
Yeah, which is very uncharacteristic usually of them, yeah.
Yeah. No, they out-rebounded them. They shot better from the field. So, more assists, too. So, it's just, like I've been saying, I mean, the Raptors just have more talent right now on their roster. And even if Durant comes back, I don't know if a banged-up Durant who hasn't played since the last series is really going to help that much.
I mean, and like we saw in Game 3, which me and you were a little bit surprised of, but Toronto, I mean, Nick Nurse just has his rotation, perfect right now. He knows he's got the minutes balanced all right. He knows he can play Kawhi 40+, and it's not going to matter, Pascal, too, getting 40+. And the huge minutes from Van Vliet and Ibaka. I mean, these two dudes, defensively especially, man. Van Vliet is doing a great job of just harassing and annoying the crap out of Steph. I would, obviously it's a team effort for especially this Toronto defense to keep tabs on a guy like Steph, who's always constantly moving without the ball. But, I mean, after the game, when they show, certain players little highlight reels, Steph was just he just didn't have it, man.
No.
And I don't know if that was part. Exactly. I don't know if that was part of, him having to take that load Game 3 and just give whatever he had just to keep them in the game. It wasn't even in a heroic winning effort. It was literally just to barely keep them in it. And at the end, it wasn't even, they weren't even close in Game 3 or whatever. But the one day in between hurt all the older guys. I'm sure, Clay probably still wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting. What I was watching, Scott Van Pelt after the game, and he always has Legler on, who I think he's got a pretty solid basketball mind. He's always on there. And he said right from the beginning, he could just tell Steph just in his handle. Steph has one of the best handles in the league. He's usually able to shake a Pascal, even a Van Vliet, a Danny Green. Those are good defenders, but he's usually able to shake them with his moves. And early on, he couldn't create the separation. I don't know, just gassed or just constantly having two bodies on you just takes a lot out of you. And it's part of his frame, too. He's not like LeBron and Kawhi, who's, 230 plus of muscle. He's like, what, 180 maybe?
So
yeah, like your body just it's hard to keep up, even if you're in the best shape of your life and body weight, you're all good, and I'm sure he's super strong core and all that, but that's just, it's more demanding. And I know a lot of the people in the media have been saying, like, especially Perk, I know he's like, man, when it comes down to the finals, it's not necessarily about X and O's. It's about, man, like, who wants it more? Like, where everybody's gonna be banged up. Like, I'm sure, Kawhi is a little banged up, Pascal's a little banged up, like Lowry, I'm sure, he's been freaking diving into the seats, man. Like,
hey, I mean, did you see the shot Van Vliet took too?
Oh man, he got cracked by Livingston, and I've been there, man. That's a sensitive area of your face right there. I mean, you take one little sharp elbow, and that's a gusher. It starts bleeding out. But it was great. I love it. It was like Van Vliet is in the locker room, and he just received 7 stitches, and he expects to be back out in the game soon. I was like, all right, let's go, Fred, and lace it up, baby. That's what I'm talking about. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Kawhi with arguably his best game of the finals, man. 36 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 4 steals, 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
0 turnover, 9 for 9 from the line. Like, and he was bringing up the ball like a lot. He's got to create a lot of offense for them. And I think it was just like in the third quarter, Toronto finally saw the ball go in the rim and they were able to get a little run. But it seemed like even when Golden State hit their occasional big three or, 2 threes in a row by Clay, somebody just answered. Whether it was Lowry making a great play or Danny Green hitting a shot, like the one shot he hit all game, like they were able to just answer with shots. And when you're on the road, you got to be able to just quiet the crowd and settle it, man.
Yeah.
And Kawhi's one of the best at doing that. He's so even keeled.
Oh yeah, he's cold-blooded. But I think Danny Green and even Kyle Lowry, while I mean, the stat sheet doesn't really jump out to you. They both shot awful from the field.
Yeah.
They kept themselves in there just from defense, man.
Exactly.
Danny Green was still plus 13. I mean, he was switching on everybody the whole game. I mean, Clay got you. He had a good game offensively, but you could tell just on defense he was a step slow. And he's really the only option to guard Kawhi.
Yeah. And I mean, like any type of really lower body injury, it really affects you so much more on defense, and you can just feel it because just those quick little pinpoint kind of movements you have to make on defense or getting around a screen. If you got like a nagging hammy or a groin even too is so bad on defense, like you feel that like constantly. Yeah, and I'm sure that wasn't comfortable. But hey man, I mean. The whole Toronto team, I mean, them walking off the court and no celebrations. They aren't going crazy like they just won Game 7 and yada yada. Like it's 3-1, but I mean, I think they are focused, man, and they know like they're not here to celebrate each game. They're there to celebrate once they get to 4. And man, there is no better opportunity on your home court. Clay's still a little banged up. Boogie's not even playing well. Draymond's going to do. Now it comes out, Game 5, KD has been upgraded to questionable. He went out in practice today. I still don't know if he comes back for Game 5. I'm very hesitant. I kind of feel like it'll be kind of a game time decision, literally. I know that's like a cliche, but I feel like for KD, it's going to be, if he goes out, has a good shoot around, feels good, he's like, yeah, I'll go. But if he goes out, he's like, nah. I think he would rather get one more game. And then definitely if they could pull out Game 5, I think he's back for 6. But how we feeling about Game 5 in Toronto, man, with the trophy in the building on Monday night? How do we feel, man?
Yeah, I see the Raptors winning again, man. I really do. Even from just listening to what the Raptors said after the game as opposed to what the Warriors were saying after the game. I feel like I like where the Raptors' heads are at much more than the Warriors. I mean, you got Draymond saying, like, we've been on the wrong side of 3-1 before. Like, why not make history? Like, that's not the most positive thing you want to bring up, you know?
Yeah, and like it's crazy the similarities now between 2016 and 2019 with the Cavs and the Warriors, and now the Raptors and the Warriors. How the Warriors on the other end. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember LeBron and Kyrie like, oh, nobody's ever came back from a 3-1. Like, we just gotta go make history. It was LeBron said, look, we just got to go in there and play better than we've had the last couple games. That's it. That's all we can do now. You take it game by game. Even like you said a couple, episodes ago with Draymond, like, we gonna come back, win, whatever he said, like, we're gonna win 4 in a row. Like, you're an idiot, bro. Like, why would you even say that? Like, you're setting yourself up for freaking disappointment, dude.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Like the example of LeBron and Kyrie, they were treating it just a game at a time. It doesn't 3-1 lead doesn't mean anything. All that means is we have to win the next 4 games.
Yeah.
And it's a W at a time, and that's exactly what the Raptors are doing right now. And I really think that comes back to Kawhi Leonard. And I know a lot of people have questioned his leadership or whatever, the way he leads, but every player leads a different way.
Yep.
Not everyone is LeBron, super charismatic. I'll tell you what to do. I'll be super vocal with you. Kawhi's a very big, just kind of lead by my example.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the other guys are kind of falling in line with the, cold. I hate to use that term, but like just kind of not emotional towards anything.
Exactly. And even on those Raptor teams, I mean, Kyle Lowry is a pretty vocal leader. He's kind of accepted that. Same with Marc Gasol, but they know Kawhi is the dude, and they kind of embody his type of playing style and attitude when on the court. And I mean, to your point, I mean, I wouldn't even say LeBron is like rah, like vocal guy on the court at times in the huddles. I'm sure he's got to say, hey, snap out, we got to play better. But he's more lead by example too on the court.
Yeah.
He's not like Kobe and Jordan and like, all these dudes that were just kind of like more talking smack and trying to be like the angriest, dude on the court to kind of rev up his teammates that way. He's always been similar with Kawhi and I know LeBron is always ticked about how, Kawhi is, because when he saw him check in, he was like, damn, this guy again, the guy, I can't get fit through to him. Like, I think that's a good point. Like, if it was any other team, I'd be a little worried because they'd be like, oh my, 3-1, like, oh snap, we about to be champions. But the Raptors are just like, nah, like, all right, let's go, let's play, like, we're ready. Like, this is game 5, like this ain't another game. Like, all those dudes have been there for like the long haul. So yeah, I think, even though this is similar and obviously it's 3-1 and yada, it's the same as back, but like, I know we can debate about how that 2016 series went, but I mean, the Cavs got a little bit of help, regardless. I mean, the Draymond suspension was unfortunate. Should it have happened in the finals? That's what people will always debate. I think Bogut was out to Game 5, or he was at least banged up. Iggy was a little bit banged up. Like, this series, I don't see any small window for Golden State to try and exploit. I think Van Vliet's gonna play. He just got an eye cut. Like,
yeah,
like you said, if Durant comes back and he's even 80%, which I think maybe the most he'd be, maybe 90 if you're best. Like, Kawhi is a great matchup for KD.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're telling me KD's gonna be this lockdown defender on Kawhi? Like, I mean, he'll probably do maybe a better job since Klay's a little banged up, but
I really think the better comparison for this is it's really similar to the 2015 finals. I keep seeing it pop up on my Instagram, man, but it's just, bad luck for the Warriors. And when you lose your...
Not as bad, but I hear you. It is like, it's similar. The 2015, I mean, Braun was like, yo. And they were up 2-1, bro.
The difference was
that's the crazy thing.
Braun didn't have those guys at all the whole series. But, I mean, to a lesser degree, Curry didn't have Klay for, what was it, 2 games or 1 game?
1 game. Well, had 1.5 games.
1.5, right. Yeah. Cousins was whatever. I mean, his injury in the beginning of the playoffs kind of...
Game 4 was embarrassing from him, dude.
Yeah, he's losing
embarrassing.
Money. He's losing money every game. But, I mean, losing Kevin Durant, pretty big. More of just like a morale hit than anything,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, the Warriors, I guess, could
You
just.
you didn't give me your. Do you think KD plays Game 5?
No, I don't.
Even with all the rumor he did, he practiced today. I mean, that's a
I,
great sign if he practiced. You know.
yeah, I also saw something where I think it was Steven Jackson said he has a little insight to it, but he said that the practice did not really go well. You know,
Mm.
like obviously he's progressing towards being closer to playing, but I mean, I feel like if he was going to play this game, he would at least have been questionable for the last game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's been really no indication that he's been. Plus, every game it's been getting pushed back. It's been, oh, maybe we'll have him for game two. Oh, game three or
Yeah, it
four,
was
maybe
Game 3 or
five.
4. Yeah, you're right.
So, I don't know. I also heard something where, which this is pretty deep. You know, who knows how accurate this is, but a lot of people, a lot of people are speculating that maybe it's not really a calf strain because they're looking at where the ice pack is placed on
Hmm.
his leg,
Yes,
and
I did read it. It's a
they think it's
lower calf strain. Okay.
yeah, which, what does that sound like to me?
Yeah.
Achilles. But
No, that's what I feel like. Just come out and say it, man. It's okay. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I really hope for Durant's sake that he plays just to get out on the floor. But also, I really, it would do me some favors if he played and then they still lose by 20 so that I can rub it in all their faces that even if Durant, it didn't matter. So I
Yeah.
hope he does play.
Yeah, and then I think I mean you heard Iguodala's comments too. I'm pretty sure he kind of was almost like accepting it. Like he was like, like regardless of what happens, like I think no matter what, we'll come back next year with like our core and we'll have another run back at it. And I was like, like that's a little weird of you to say before it's even been determined. Like I feel like a lot of these, especially the older Warriors peoples, are like. They're like, okay, like we just don't have it. This
Did
Toronto
you
team is a lot better. I mean, we're not giving the credit. Like, they beat a really, really good 76ers team, like, in 7 games. Beat the best team in the NBA, arguably, in the Bucks, like, convincingly. And now Kawhi is about to do it again, bro. He's ending another dynasty
yeah, did you see what Clay said also?
with his laugh.
No, I think it was something before that, but they were talking about I don't know, someone asked him a question about like if you can reflect on like the dynasty you guys have or whatever, and he said, like all great things come to an end,
Yes, yeah, I
whether
did
it's
hear.
next game or in 4 years, who knows? I was like, man, like that can't even be a thought on your mind right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we'll see. But yes, to your point, Kawhi Leonard, man, is just in the right place at the right time. He caught the heat when D Wade was starting to fall off a little bit. Supporting cast was falling off a little bit. Now he's catching the Warriors when they finally get hit with some injuries. I mean, he probably deserved it after beating probably the two other best teams in the NBA to get a
Yeah.
little break. But yeah, definitely some
And
crazy
I
stuff.
don't know if you heard his interview, snippets of his interview with Rachel Nichols. She had a good little one-on-one piece with him,
Hmm.
and he said that this Toronto staff and the way they managed him throughout the regular season. I mean, us were avid fantasy basketball players, and I know I had Kawhi on my team for much of the year,
Yeah,
and it would be like day to day load management. I'd be like, bruh, like
yeah,
I need those points, man, but like he said he's like literally he's like my body feels so much better. Like
yep.
there was a time in there where I had to take like a week or two off to get my body fully right, and then we kind of managed it again. No back to backs. Like it all adds up, and it's grueling once you get to the finals. And look
Yep.
how he's playing now.
Hmm.
Like
No, I honestly, the more I've been thinking about it, I know I've been saying for a while, I think he's going to Lakers, but it's really just fallen more and more in line that he just wants to stay in Toronto. I mean, it's the perfect, let's say how it's the perfect country for him. I
I
mean,
mean,
Canadians,
he
they
will
don't,
be a national icon
yeah,
in a country.
literally a
Like
god.
forget San Antonio or Los Angeles. It's the country of Canada. Like
Yeah.
I know it's not much, but I mean, like it's insane.
So I also I think he probably would have stayed in San Antonio had the staff just, had his trust still. I
Yeah,
think that's the main thing. And I think Toronto showed him a lot this year that we're going to do what we can to surround you with players to get a chance at the title. Signing Marc Gasol was pretty big risk.
yeah.
Um, They draft well. They treat him. They let him do whatever he wants. Takes all the load management games he wants, like you just said. And
Yep.
Kyle Lowry, I'm sure, has been in his ear the whole year, like, oh, we'll get you this, we'll get you that. People are giving him free apartments, free food. It's hard to turn all that down just because you want to live in a certain city.
Yeah.
And Toronto's a good city, so.
Oh, Toronto's a fantastic city, super clean, by the way. And but just to point out how incredible Kawhi has been, I saw this stat. He leads the playoffs in all these categories: minutes, total points. He leads points by over 100. Rebounds, steals, field goals, and free throws. He leads all of those categories in the playoffs. It's unreal, and I'm just saying, if he wins the chip this year and he wins Finals MVP, he's got the same number as Kevin Durant. Just saying.
Yep.
Same number of rings, same number of Finals MVP.
I was going to bring up.
Cough, and he didn't have to join a 73-win team.
Yeah.
But we love you, KD. All right, rest up. Hope you get healthy.
Hey, listen.
Hey, don't push it, Don't push.
Listen, what's the perfect way to combat all this, You needed that 73-win team to get a ring. Kawhi didn't. Go win one on your own on a team that hasn't won one in a while. Yeah. That team will remain unspoken, but you know what we mean.
I will say for KD, 2017, I think he definitely earned that ring. It was kind of a long time in the coming. Obviously, he just joined that team. But that was a decent final series. The Cavs team was still pretty good with Kyrie on there. And, he hit that dagger in Game 3 that will be a pretty signature shot of his career for the rest of his career. But 2018, I mean, come on. LeBron had one of the greatest Game 1s ever, but, that team was just – that 2018 Cavs team was bad.
Pitiful.
Yeah.
The second best player is Jeff Green in that series, so let's be real.
Oh, man. All right. Well, holy crap. I cannot believe we're about to say this, but tomorrow night, man, the Larry O'Brien Trophy, it will be in the building. They got to do it. You can't let Golden State get any sort of confidence whatsoever. Just keep playing the way you've been doing. I mean, that freaking boxing one has been working, dude. It's unbelievable. It seems to be frustrating Steph. But, yeah, hats off to this Toronto team. A lot of people say, the best team usually finds a way to get there. They find a way to win the championship. Usually, it's not always the number one seed or the team with the best record in the regular season. It's the best team at the end. And, man, Toronto is showing why they're the best team all year long. But, yeah, that's enough finals talk. Going to be losing my mind tomorrow night as Toronto tries to battle, and I can't wait for Drizzy in the building. Oh my, he was. I don't know if you saw him on his Instagram story, but he was a fool.
Yeah.
Calling out Clay and stuff. But another big event in the NBA will be happening sooner than later, man. It's less than 2 weeks away now. The 2019 NBA Draft, obviously headlined by the boy Zion Williamson. Two other top prospects in the draft, Ja Morant and RJ Barrett, too, will be headlines. But to start our, count the bucket special draft preview, which, me and you, we've always loved the draft. We went to it in person last year. It was awesome to be there. We'll do a little, preview of some sleepers and late first-round guys that we really like, how we think they're going to transition to the next level. And, which teams maybe should really take a look at their talents and try to utilize them, because some of, all these top teams, at least in the NBA lately, Boston and Golden State and, Houston, they've shown that, you got to sign the big guys and bring in players when you can, but keeping that solid group of players through the draft is super important because, one, they're cheap and they don't have too much, effect on the salary cap, and that's just the way the league is going. Positionless basketball, young, long defensively, and can be able to shoot the three. So I'll let you start it off. You can give me two of your sleepers to start with, and then I will hit you with some of mine, and we can just take it from there.
Okay. I'm gonna start with this first guy who I feel like not a lot of people have really heard about him, just because it's a bit of a unique situation. But this guy's name is Darius Bazley. His name was in the news last year a lot. He was one of the first guys to kind of bypass the whole you can't do a one-and-done rule, where I think he originally had committed to play with Syracuse and then opted to play in the G League. and then changed his mind again and just said, I'm just going to take the year off and train on my own. Kind of similar to what
Mitchell.
what's his name? Thon Maker Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson too. Yeah.
So yeah, he's the youngest guy in this draft. I think he has a lot of great physical attributes. He's a
McDonald's
6'9".
All-American. Damn.
Yep.
Yeah.
McDonald's All-American. He's 6'9". He's pretty built. He's got good shooting form. He's 210. I was watching some of his highlights from the draft combine, and he really looks like he has some guard skill to him, taking guys off the dribble, finishing up at the rim. He's a lefty too, which is always nice to have. So I got a little comparison for him here. I think he's very similar to a guy named Thaddeus Young.
Okay.
The build really isn't there quite yet, but I think they have similar games in terms of they can stretch to four a little bit, can score with guard-like skills, can handle the ball, pass, and I think he has a lot of potential defensively. In terms of which teams I think he can fall into,
is he projected right now as like a second rounder, or is he kind of getting?
He's projected mid-second round right now.
Gotcha.
Which I think is underrating him quite a lot, just based on his age. But I think a guy like him, due to his age, like I just mentioned, probably needs to get drafted to a team that's rebuilding right now. I think Atlanta's a great spot.
Ooh, yeah.
They have a lot. They have so many picks in this draft.
They do. They really do.
It's crazy. So you can take some chances with him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Other teams like Phoenix, I know they're pretty wing heavy right now, but just another great wing to add to the competition on the team.
Exactly, and if you add one, it's one of these has got to work out.
Yeah.
Mikal, Josh, like one of you, Kelly, someone.
But I'm gonna move on to my second one.
Yep.
I think this guy, I feel like a lot of people know him now, which is still crazy to me how he's so underrated on these draft boards. But this guy who made a name for himself this year in the tourney, and that's Carson Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
This dude is a walking bucket.
Man's a problem.
He was the best scorer in that whole tournament, in my eyes. Had the absolute strap from three. Showed you he had NBA range. Even when teams were keying on him, still was hitting it over him. I love his release. It's nice and high. Can shoot over defenders.
And he gets a good power and lift off his jumper too. Just like solid body. Yeah.
Great. Uses his legs in a shot a lot, which is important in the NBA.
Yeah. Yep.
He's only 6 foot, which is the only thing that has me a little worried for him. But he's a solid 200 pounds too, and you can use he's a junior against him. But I kind of like it. The fact that he has good fundamentals, he's been working, he's got a good NBA body, so I like that. I think his comparisons, I did kind of a worst case scenario and best case scenario. I think worst case scenario, he'd be similar to a guy like Darren Collison.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Small, scrappy, can shoot the three very well. Collison's always had a really high percentage from three, can push the ball, and maybe if the physical, his physical attributes kind of hold him back. I can see that there in Collison, but I think what a lot of people were comparing him to during the draft was a man named Kemba Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Just a guy that can break you down, small, but has just super quickness.
Yeah, just the way he plays, like you can go screen by screen and kind of match him up, like his crossover kind of similar, just the way he holds the jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good I think a good team for him would be someone he could kind of start, or at least try to contribute right away. I think a team like Philly or Milwaukee, who are kind of always looking for a backup guard. Yeah. Milwaukee, he doesn't quite fit it, but just another shooter on the team, I really hate to say it because they always do this, but really think the Warriors might end up scooping him up because he's really just a better version of Quinn Cook.
Yo, Quinn Cook has been garbage in the finals, by the way. Sorry.
I mean, it hurts to say.
Anytime I can say that.
They really could pick him up, but
are they gonna pick him up for trading with cash or whatever?
They have the 28th, so if he falls to them, they could scoop him. I think another great team would be Phoenix because they're always looking for point guards.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my first two. So
yeah, I think I saw one draft guy that I follow on Twitter said that he loves the potential fit with Philly. He thinks that would be very, very good because they always need somebody on that like second unit to just come in and just straight up like get them a bucket. Like,
Yeah.
and he, if anything in the NBA, like you said, he can be that like spark plug off the bench. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got potential to probably be a starter the way the league is going, especially. But like
Mhm.
you said, I mean, tiny dude. He's got, I mean, super athletic, man. That boy gets
Mhm.
up. Like, I don't know if I saw him yamming the tourney, but man,
He's
he
up
was
there though.
yeah, he was getting up there in some rare air. But I mean, prime case and example is freaking Van Vliet, man. I mean, how tall is he
Yeah.
out there? I mean,
Yeah, he's like
he's
6'1".
just showing, you can still be valuable if you're as long as when you're not 6'8" and long and all that. But no, yeah, those are good. I got two sleepers. Both of mine are from the Big Ten, so yeah, got to give a shout out to the Big Ten hoops. Um, this first guy is small forward Amir Coffey from the
Mm.
Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Shout out DJ O'Mara, go Gophers. But this dude 6'8", listed at like some sites I had he's listed at 190, some listed at 210. This dude for most of the year was like out there by himself. I know Jelly, Isaiah Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Minnesota, and he was kind of a bum, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he was.
He just never had it. But the thing I like about Amir Coffey is he's gonna have great size at the next level. He's a really good defender, very streaky offensively. Um, there were times where throughout the year he would shoot, 4 of 7 from three in a game or 5 of 8, finish with 40 or 50. But then there were other games where he'd go 1 of 9, 1 of 10 from three. So, I mean, that's a lot of these kids in this draft. Still put up great offensive numbers. He was like a 3-year starter basically at Minnesota. So he's got a lot of experience, which I think even though the league is kind of going in a different direction, especially with the young guys coming out that are like 18, 19, I still don't think like the 22 and 23-year-olds like you don't take a chance on.
No,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
I think a guy like this that can come in, go in the second unit, a natural playmaker. He's a 6'8" point guard essentially. Like I'm saying, he had no help in Minnesota. Um, I would compare him. I know this dude's trash or we don't like him, but I would kind of compare him to Michael Carter Williams a way.
Okay.
Way better offensively than MCW was out of college, but very similar defensively. And yeah, I think he's listed right now like late second round. I think a team that kind of is looking for more playmaking could kind of utilize him, not
Mhm.
necessarily like a scorer. Um, I put Philly down just because when Simmons isn't out there or McConnell, I feel like they still might need a guy out there. And I also liked maybe Chicago. Take a flyer on them, put some more
Mhm.
pieces around Levine and Markkanen and those guys to give him a playmaker. So that could be, Chris Dunn's not a natural playmaker, but they can maybe fit. Another boy from the Big Ten. I've been high on this dude from the beginning, from the University of Michigan. I'm gonna try and say his name right.
Oh yeah.
Ignaz Brazdeikis.
Mm-hmm.
6'7", 220, thick body for the next level. Already's got, a pretty good frame.
Freshman too.
True freshman, yep. Of course, I think a potential fit would be the Spurs. He just seems like a Spurs guy to me.
Oh yeah.
Somebody that Pop could take his skill set and utilize well. He's a score first guy, but he's still got such a good handle and playmaking ability that he kind of, a lot of people, obviously because he's a lefty and foreign, are just going to compare him to Joel Ingles. But
Yeah.
I kind of see him more as more of like a Bogdanovich type guy where once he adjusts more to the NBA distance, that he's going to be like a knockdown shooter. Very good mid range, very good going to the basket, strong. So I think he's got a lot of potential in the league, and he's only going, early second, late second. I mean, guys like him and Coffee, they're that type of body type, and they bring just a unique role. Like you said, I mean, you got to take some chances, especially in the second round. If there's a prospect as intriguing as like Baisley, but
Mhm.
some of these dudes coming out, I mean, they could come in and contribute definitely right away. 15, 20 minutes a game, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are my first two.
All right, I'm gonna move on to my third guy. This guy had a bit of an unfortunate injury in the tournament that kind of derailed the track he was on during the tournament. But he was really moving up draft boards during the tournament. And that's a guy named Chuma Okiki.
Okiki.
Yeah, he got a torn ACL during the tournament.
Was it the Elite Eight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had been playing really well throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
My thing with the whole injury is I feel like the way medicine is nowadays, especially with the ACL injury. They have so much information on it. Is a lot of players really come back better from it.
Yeah.
And if you can have just avoid that second re-injury of it, like Jabari Parker had, where he doesn't really look the same anymore, if you could just keep the good habits with that, I think you can come back and be still the same physical specimen he is. So that's probably the only caveat with him. I think right now he's early second, maybe late first. That's his projection. So
Yeah.
I think just the injuries kind of push him back. But I think a good comparison for him is a bit of a hybrid of a Kuzma and John Collins type of player.
Okay, yeah.
He's a 6'8", 235 power forward / small forward.
Who had bounce.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
He
physical
was a great
attributes.
rebounder for his size, yeah.
Yeah, which is like the John Collins type thing in him.
Yeah.
I think he can really finish above the rim. Great rebounder, like you said. Great defender. But he also has the ability to shoot. He's got pretty good form. I feel like he could, and this is where the Kuzma kind of comes in. I feel like he'll probably adjust better to the NBA three-point line than the college three-point line, which, by the way, I love NCAA's new rule that they're pushing back the three-point line to the international.
Yes, yep.
So smart. But, yeah, I think he could definitely help impact the team. The two teams I have listed are Brooklyn. I think they could always use more, wings, more 3-and-D type guys.
Yeah.
And then, again, I have Atlanta just because they just so much young talent they could compile. Why not have him and John Collins going at it every day? I think another good one is probably the Pelicans, just to have another wing on there. So really like his game. I think he'll be decent in the NBA, just if he can, fight that injury bug.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back. And like you said, with the advanced technology that physical therapists have now, and they really do. I mean, some people come back and their vertical is 2-3 inches higher.
No, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
My second guy I have here is an international prospect from Croatia. This guy's name is Luka Samanic. I want to say that's how you pronounce it.
Nice, well done.
But he's a 6'11", 230 power forward, which right there.
Another Luka?
Another Luka. They're taking over the league. But that really stuck out to me, just the physical prowess of this guy.
Yeah.
Watched some tape on him. He's really versatile, can move for his size, has a pretty nice handle for the size, can shoot. I like his form a lot. Got great balance on it, great lift. He shows that he can finish above the rim pretty well. So for the size and weight that he is, I think he could come in and contribute right away.
Yeah.
I think a comparison I have to him would be somewhere between Markkanen and Saric. You know?
Yeah.
Where he has that, he's 6'11", so he's similar in Markkanen's size, but a little bit more of a playmaker.
And athletically more like Saric, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the teams that would target him would be, of course, the Spurs. They love their international prospects.
Yep.
I think the Bucks could really use him. He'd be like a backup Ersan Ilyasova. And then I also have Philly, just because, again, they could use more help on the forward department. So, yeah, those are my next two.
Yeah, no, those are both. I think Samanic definitely is, just recently with the success that some of the international players have. I feel like a lot of GMs. I mean, why not take a flyer on a guy like that with the skill set and size that he has?
Yeah, exactly.
My next guy is kind of similar in terms of stature and potential with Samanic, but a lot of people talk about him. They really like his potential. Didn't really stand out necessarily in college, but Jalen McDaniels out of San Diego State, 6'10" power forward, long. The quick scouting report on him is that he's got great gifts, very long, good on defense. And he's going to be able to switch everything. And, I mean, we always talk about it. State of the NBA, it's positionless basketball. You're going to want your bigs to be able to guard the pick and roll and guard these quick-ass guards out there. Got a decent jump shot. Didn't really shoot great from three. I think total for his jumpers over the years was 40-45%. Mm-hmm. He kind of does everything okay, which is good for like a late early, mid-second round pick, take a flyer on. You know he's going to give you the minutes athletically out there on defense. But then again, he also has tools that he's got a lot of potential with. He's decent with the ball, 6'10", he's got that size, and he can pull up and kind of create for himself. It feels kind of similar, really, for me. I know this guy was drafted way higher than him, but it's almost like a Jonathan Isaac type thing. Like you see the potential that he could have, but right now how young he is and his body isn't, fully, grown into, got to put a little bit more muscle on and whatnot. And once they hit that and adjust to kind of the speed and strength that you're going to need at the next level, then, he could be a solid player, which I think Jonathan Isaac, we saw some glimpses, especially this year, that,
Plus,
it just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, like you said, guys like that who are kind of just good at everything, it's a great base for, NBA trainers and those guys to build upon that. And they don't have to, if this guy can't handle the ball at all in college, you have to spend the whole summer getting his handle up before you can work on anything else. So
yeah,
I feel like that's even better just to have a good base to work up from.
Yeah, so some teams right in the middle of the draft. It seems like we're staying this team a lot, but the Spurs are right there. They know how to draft well and develop. I like maybe a possible fit with the Kings. You add another lengthy guy in there to build around with Bagley and Giles and all those dudes. And then even maybe the Timberwolves, I think they still need a little bit more help with with Towns, getting him another big body in there that could maybe help. So, I think mid-second round he's definitely worth. I think he was regarded as like a better prospect early in the year, but this year at San Diego State kind of disappointed a little. But things can always change in the NBA. Some games, some players' games suits the NBA way better than it does the college game. It's an entirely different game. Like you said, I think it's very good for the NCAA to move it back a little bit, just for the way the game is going. I think it's almost like they want to move it back so teams don't just start playing Houston Rockets ball. Yeah. But at the same time, it's going to be helpful for the players too to kind of that transition from the college to pro 3 is dreadful for some guys, or it's like flipping a light switch for like guys like Kuzma and those dudes. My other dude is a point guard. Finally, a point guard that I can talk about. But this boy I've been a big fan of. He kind of showed out all year. I think he played really well against Duke in the Garden. But Shamoy Ponds, out of St. John's University, coached by Chris Mullin. If you have not watched this dude, he's a straight bucket getter. He's a very underrated playmaker too. I think there's not a ton of teams that are looking for point guards nowadays, but teams like maybe the Pacers, the Jazz, Charlotte potentially, if Kemba leaves, I think Shamoy Ponds is definitely a guy you look at for a point guard to try and build around. He's going to be that prolific scoring guard that we're seeing a lot of nowadays that teams are trying to build around. And yeah, I don't know. I just think teams that are desperate for a point guard. There's not a ton of them. A lot of the teams in the playoffs right now have their guy or whatever are going to look for it in free agency. But I love Shamoy Ponds' game, man. That dude got the ball on a string. He's like 6'3", 6'4", good size at the point guard position. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of him. I hope he makes it somehow.
Word. I'll move on to my final two. This first guy was on the Tennessee team. One of the most important players on that team, I think.
Yeah.
Offense kind of centered around him a little bit, right out of that mid post, but it's a guy named Grant Williams. I think right now he's early second, late first, probably more early second. He's 6'7", 240, a junior, just a great NBA body. Right off the bat, his physical, comparisons would probably be like a PJ Tucker to a Draymond Green type thing.
Yeah.
And I think he could have a pretty
Julius Randle type kind of body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe like a Jay Crowder too.
Yeah.
But he's very skilled for his size. They have him listed as 6'7". I think he's probably closer to 6'6", 6'5".
Yeah, definitely. But
he's got great post game, great fadeaway, great drop steps. He's got finishing inside. Also just an elite athlete. He can really get up and finish, especially for his weight at 240. I think players like this are really going to start to flourish in the NBA.
Yeah, really good defensive instincts too, especially in the tournament. I noticed that. Yeah, good help defender. like you mentioned with the Draymond comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah, so those like 6'7", 6'6", big body guys, especially he's got a good wingspan too.
Yep.
6'11" type wingspan. I think that's more the measurement you should look at for defenders like that. But yeah, his comparisons, like I said, PJ, Draymond type things. I think a really good spot for him, which would be a little bit of a stretch, but I can see them kind of making a push for him, would be Portland.
Yeah.
I think you could have a similar effect on Lillard and CJ as like Draymond does for Steph and Clay when he eventually comes to his own, if he has that effect. I think another great spot, of course, San Antonio. He's got a lot of tools that they could do whatever they want with him.
Just, if you're a young player, you just basically are praying that San Antonio draft you. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We got a little pattern going here,
I think another good team, though, would maybe be Cleveland. I think a young team like that could use a presence in the post, who could pass out of it, maybe make it easier on...
Especially to pair with Sexton and whoever they take at 5, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, really like his game. I think his jump shot will also translate well.
Yeah, a lot of people, dude. I've seen on Twitter... I saw this one dude who I don't really trust yet, but I've just been kind of like keeping an eye on what he's tweeting about the draft. But he was so high on Grant Williams, he had him as his 4th best prospect in the entire draft.
That's big.
He was very high on him. He thinks he's really going to translate. Yeah, that's a bit much.
I
was like, Grant Williams?
Listen, he's a junior, so maybe right now he's better than a lot of people. But yeah, come on now. Finally, moving on to my last, but certainly not least, is the big man himself, the only man bigger than Zion Williamson in his draft, and that's Taco Fall.
Hey.
The man is 7'6", 290. I mean, how do you not take a chance on this guy? Now, of course, with big guys like this, conditioning's a question, injuries are a question, motor's a question.
Yeah.
But once you get him in the weight room, get him maybe slimmed down to like 270, which is still a freaking unit. People, like throughout the history of the NBA, it's shown that big guys like that always have a role in the NBA.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't translate to a starter, but just a solid big man off the bench like a Boban. But for his size, he's a pretty good free throw shooter, for his size.
Yeah.
He's got good touch around the rim, great defensive instincts, obviously a great rim protector. If he can just learn to stand there with his arms up and grab boards, I think he could have a role on any team. Comparisons, of course, any guy you can think that's over 7'6", probably similar to
Boban.
But the thing with him is you don't have to worry about putting muscle onto him.
Yeah.
It's just slimming him down, which is a very good thing for
getting him eating right, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of fit, I mean, any team really that's willing to take a risk on this guy, anywhere.
New York.
Atlanta, the Knicks, why not? Yeah. So not really a select team for him, but I think anyone could benefit from his upside.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it'll be tough at the next level when, you get Dame or Chris Paul switched onto him or, a quicker guard like that. But I think even in the tournament, I kind of noticed he's not a bad perimeter defender because he's okay if you're going to go by him because his arms are so long that he will be able to, like, block your shot, like, if he's still, like, 2 feet behind you. He's okay with that, and the size and strength, I mean, that won't be an issue for him at all. I mean, those big dudes, they're going to check into a game and be like, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Taco. I hope he, I feel like he's going to be like a Summer League legend,
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to go off in the Summer League. I don't know
why.
Why.
If you remember in that Duke game, he was really giving them problems before they got him in foul trouble, man.
Yeah.
Really was.
All right, my last 2 are both projected late first rounders. I think my last guy I'll talk about might even go a little bit earlier. He's been kind of sneaking up the boards a little bit. But this first guy, I've literally watched. He's played 3 years at UNC. I've watched him every single year, and the thing I like about him is that each year he improves a better aspect of his game.
Mm-hmm.
As a true freshman, this is Cameron Johnson at UNC, 6'9", long, pretty solid athlete. as a true freshman, he was gifted. You could tell right away. Athletically, had good length, decent speed, was able to guard multiple positions, but he had absolutely no offensive game. No offensive game. He was just a transition guy and would crash the boards, which, if you know UNC basketball, I mean, that's Roy Williams just gets a bunch of 6'9" guys and then they just crash the offensive boards, which is good in college. Sophomore year, he comes back and he's got a little bit of a handle. He's trying to develop a little more of his offensive game. This past year at UNC, he was a remarkably better shooter. So the thing I like about that is, yes, he's like 22, 23, but he's way more polished. He's been coached by Roy Williams. We've seen this a ton of time. You know, guys like this will come in. They'll just be 10, 12-year role players in the league, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of comparisons for him. I mean, it's basically your 6'9", 6'10" guy who's got some offense. I think, you know, you mentioned it before. With the team Portland, I think they could always use a guy like that comes off the bench and maybe gives them an offensive option. I think he could fit well in Milwaukee. Shot very well from three throughout the regular season, so I think he'll adapt well to the NBA three. But this is a guy, like I said, whenever I, especially a big program like UNC that's on TV a lot, like I'm going to watch them, and you pick up on it, you know? You want to see that constant improvement. It's the guys that are seniors and juniors in college that you're like, bro, you look exactly like the way you were playing, like as a freshman.
Yeah.
Like my boy, man, another dude at UNC, Seventh Woods, like he came in as a freshman, and I was like, are you gonna do anything now? Are you gonna get better? Like, you know, so that shows at least he's got a little bit of work ethic, and I think he's slated to go late first round. Maybe he slips in the second though, because there's a lot of prospects pretty similar to him.
Mm-hmm.
Last prospect they got is that boy Tyler Herro, I believe. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
He's a top, definitely one, if not the best shooting prospect in this draft. Decent size. He doesn't have the longest wingspan, so defensively, I know that's been the scouting report across most draft website and whatnot, is that he's going to struggle a little bit defensively on the perimeter. But when you get a guy that's shooting 95% from the free throw line, shooting 40% plus at the 3-point line, he's going to fit into a lot of teams. I think I saw a report that Boston, might be a potential fit. I see him being like a Svi, like people are just going to maybe take advantage of him, and he might slide in the first round. But as soon as he gets some minutes and knocks down some jumpers, I mean, OKC right there at the end of the first round could be good. Brooklyn, Orlando, Detroit. I see him going between 15 and 22. I don't see him sliding past Boston at 22, because I feel like Brad Stevens is like, oh yeah, I could use this dude.
He's got great size though for his role.
Definitely for like a shooting guard. You don't 6'5", 6'6", whatever he's listed at. I mean, that's perfect size for today's day.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that gives our little preview into the draft preview from Count the Bucket. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more prospects that we didn't get to talk about. We'll kind of go more towards the lottery in the next episode, and then maybe, a big episode right before the draft will really dive in deep with the top prospects and give some comparisons, which teams we'd love to see them at. But yeah, I'm excited for this year's draft. You're a little bit more optimistic about this draft, because I'm still kind of on the fence with it. I still think it's really top heavy.
Yeah, I really see it as, the probably top 10, maybe 11 or 12. You're getting like a I wouldn't say franchise type player, but an all-star potential player, which most drafts have, but this one especially, really good prospects up there. But then I'd say anywhere between 15 to the end of the draft, there's just a lot of similar prospects. And
Exactly.
I feel like either a lot of them are going to hit, or maybe a lot of them aren't going to hit.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm kind of leaning towards lately is I feel like each of these drafts are just progressively getting better, because people are understanding what skills you need to be in the NBA. It's pretty more cut and dry now. You just need to be a shooter.
Well, with the one and done, it's more that's the kids' goals now. You kidding? It's not to win a college championship, just get to the NBA.
Yeah, so I'm optimistic for this draft. We'll see how it actually plays out. As always, very interested to see Summer League.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
No, yeah, it should be good. Hopefully a lot of movement too on draft night. We don't know. Maybe Atlanta packages a bunch of their their picks to try and move up. But yeah, no, it's gonna be good. All right. Last but not least, we give our little shout outs. I'll give one shout out first. I just saw this literally before we started recording, and it was awesome to see. But shout out to DeJounte Murray because he, I guess his younger brother graduated high school and was on the honor roll. So he posted this long Instagram message, very touching, and then bought him a brand new car. I think it was like a purple Dodge Charger, like looking all fresh. Like those moments, man, whether it's like Russell Wilson surprising his mom, buying her a house or a new car or this or that, like, it's great when especially professional athletes, they realize, the people they got around them are special too, and they have everything as much to do with the success that they've been given than just him. They don't do it alone, and that was a touching moment. So shout out to DeJounte, man. That was really awesome of you, and cannot wait for his comeback season. Cannot wait.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. I saw that too. I'm gonna give a shout out to my favorite player of all time. I'm gonna give LeBron a little shout out. Scrolling through Instagram, I saw that 2013 on this exact day, he blocked the living hell out of Thiago Splitter.
Oh yeah,
he blocked that man. I think he ended his career at that block because I don't remember him coming back.
Yeah,
but that still might be the most disrespectful. And right after he blocks that, he just stands there.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even get back on offense.
The team's going down to try and score. He just stands, lets him know.
Word.
And they were up like 18 at that point or something.
Yeah, they worked him. But I remember too when I was watching that live, you could just hear the block.
Yeah,
and it was just smack.
All ball. I was like, Splitter's not trying to right now. Oh yeah.
That was so angry. So yeah, just shout out to the boy. I'm sure he's enjoying himself right now.
King Brown, yeah, and I don't remember if I mentioned this last time that we talked with all the Kyrie rumors, but I want to give a shout out to Fat Joe.
Oh yeah,
the boy posted the Instagram post with Kyrie, and he let him know there's only one team in New York, baby. Mm-hmm. So that's all we need is a recruitment all around, baby. That's what I like to see.
Yep, he knows.
All right, man. Well, till next time. We really might be talking about the 2019 NBA champions next pod.
Let's hope so.
I'm excited. I'm ready. Drizzy, you better drop some fire if they win this chip. Prediction, Game 5. Give it to me real quick.
I'm gonna say Raptors by 5.
KD plays.
If KD plays, I'm gonna say Raptors by 10.
Savage, nice. I like it. I'll go. Oh man. I can't. I don't. I gotta go Raptors. They made me eat my words last game. I don't think I can doubt them again, man. They're just the better team. They deserve it. City Toronto deserves it after the years and years of beating up on with the Cavs, man. I'm gonna say Toronto by like 7, and man, that'll be.
Freaking Zaza.
Whoo! You're what? Yeah, that's what you get. Warriors fans, you can thank Zaza for that, man. Revenge tour.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, until next time.
Yes, sir.